diet mistakes that you're making that are making you inflamed and bloated. Don't worry, we'll crack the code today and you'll be feeling great. If you're new here, hey, I'm Healthy Emmie. I'm a nutritionist, a weight loss specialist, and the creator of Slim, the all-inclusive platform that gives you a custom meal plan, workout plan, daily meditations, exercises, journal topics, access to me, the entire Slim course, everything that you can need in order to be successful. I will be here to help you every step of the way and answer all of your questions. So get inside Slim and I'll see you in there. First, I want us to understand what inflammation is, and then I'm going to be going over 5 different mistakes that you might be making that are leading to inflammation. So maybe these little hints can tell you what we're going to talk about today, but I have my little props here to make this a more fun, interactive vid. So what is inflammation? Inflammation is not an inherently bad thing. It's the body's natural reaction to toxins, to stress, to environmental disruptions. It's a good thing in the short term. If you have an injury, if you cut something and it turns all red and blood flows to that area to help with healing it, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a survival mechanism. What's bad is when it's chronically happening and it's not a short-term thing to help your body heal, but it's a chronic state that you find your body in. And this is a state that many people find themselves in because they're chronically exposed to these inflammatory disruptions as well as stress and all these other little things that we're going to talk about. And it leads to you looking inflamed, looking puffy, looking bloated, causing you to hold on to more water. So let's talk about what we can do to help that. In the long term, if we don't address it, this chronic long-term inflammation is shown to lead to things like chronic disease, to heart disease, to autoimmune conditions, having flare-ups of autoimmune conditions. If you are somebody with an autoimmune condition, you know that you can have flare-ups when you get more stressed, when you're exposed to these certain things. If you can hear Bear in the background, he's having a flare-up of his own right now. If you can't hear him, Bear was meowing in the background. The things I'm going to be talking about today, you could be eating such a healthy diet. You could be doing so much work to try to prevent yourself from being inflamed, but these things could be keeping you stuck. So number 1 is that you're eating hidden inflammatory ingredients. So here we have peanut butter. This is Jif peanut butter. It says 7 grams of protein, gluten-free. But when we look at the ingredients, we see that the ingredients are peanuts, sugar, fully hydrogenated vegetable oils. Hydrogenated oils are trans fats. So there are 3 types of fats. There are saturated fats, unsaturated fats, and trans fats. Unsaturated fats, good healthy fats, can help with increasing your good cholesterol. These saturated fats are known to increase your bad cholesterol. And then the trans fats, unfortunately, they decrease your good cholesterol and they increase your bad cholesterol. So this is the worst of all, increasing your bad cholesterol and decreasing your good cholesterol so that your ratio of good to bad cholesterol is going to be all thrown off. And when that happens, you are more at risk for a heart attack and heart disease. So what do we steer clear of? Well, if you're somebody that's at risk of inflammation, if you just are highly sensitive, if you have an autoimmune condition, you probably know, if you're watching this video, if you're one of those people that's just a little bit more sensitive to inflammation, then you do have to be a little bit more strict with yourself with checking the ingredients, checking the labels, not eating many foods that have ingredients in the first place. Here, I'll show you an example of what a great alternative to this would be. This is the Manna cashew butter. I love their products, but you can find, a lot of great ones out there. The only ingredient is organic cashews, whereas this Jif peanut butter, we have peanuts, sugar, hydrogenated oils, salt. So this is going to be a way better option because unfortunately what I see people doing is they're doing a great job on this lifestyle. They're eating starches and vegetables and whole fruits and legumes. They're doing a fantastic job, but then they're eating this as well. And if they're sensitive, that's going to be a problem. Next on my list, represented by this large amount of vegetable matter, is overeating even on the healthy foods. So eating huge meals that overwhelm the gut can lead to fermentation of these foods within the gut, which leads to gas and bloating. If we have so much food matter that's just sitting there, it's gonna ferment in the gut, which is gonna cause you to have that gas. So I find that a lot of people are attracted to this lifestyle because of the volume eating aspect of it. And not to go on a huge tangent here, but having worked with literally thousands and thousands of people in my Slim program over many years, I've seen a recurring pattern that a lot of people are attracted to the idea of volume eating because they've come from a restrictive dieting past and they like the idea of just being able to eat a ton of food. So they end up overdoing it and they eat past the point of fullness. And that's where we get into trouble. No matter which way you slice it, no matter what diet you're eating, you have to be able to listen and honor your fullness cues. And you have to learn the difference between fullness and satisfaction. And satisfaction does not require you to have that Thanksgiving full stuffed stomach feeling. Satisfaction is when you can say, I've had enough. I know that there's always food later. I can always get more later, but I'm not nagged by hunger anymore. My hunger has gone away and I'm gently satisfied. If you're dealing with inflammation, you're dealing with gas and bloating, then you have to address, if you are engaging in overeating, that has to be addressed. And I find that some people actually do better. If you're stuffing yourself on tons of vegetables, you actually might do better adding in a little bit more calorically dense food, such as tofu or nuts or seeds, with your starches and your vegetables and your legumes, because your body could need a little bit more of a hit of the more calorically dense fat-heavy foods. You do have nutrient receptors on your stomach, not just stretch receptors that do need a little bit of fat and protein. So if you're just throwing a bunch of vegetables at the system, it's not going to be totally satisfied. So that's something to consider too. It's to not just have a huge salad with a ton of vegetables and some rice, but have some avocado, have some tofu, have some nuts and seeds, have a little sprinkling of those, because that might actually make you feel satisfied. Jump scare. I just want to remind you to supplement responsibly. So here we have my vitamin D3 and my vitamin B12. I eat a fully plant-based diet, and if you do as well, you have to make sure that you are supplementing responsibly. So vitamin B12, if you are on a plant-based diet, you're not gonna get it from your food. Due to modern sanitization, we don't naturally get adequate amounts from food anymore, so you have to make sure that you're supplementing. And then vitamin D3, 43% of the population is deficient, myself included. I was deficient before I started supplementing. And these supplements that are linked down below are the ones that I created with no sugar, no oil, no GMO, no gross stuff, just clean, vegan, premium ingredients. You can get them sent to your door every month so you don't have to worry about it. You can bundle them together, save money. Thank me later. Linked down below. Number 3 here, represented by my sleep mask, is eating too close to bedtime. There was research at UChicago Medicine which found that meal timing does influence inflammation levels. Now, when you're sleeping, your body is doing so much repair. And if you eat too closely to bedtime, your body's not gonna be able to get into that deep level of sleep and allow it to do all of the repair and restoration and recharging that it needs to do, because it's working so hard in your digestion. I have a lot of people who think if I eat closer to bedtime, I sleep better, but actually they're in a food coma. And what's happening is that their body's just exhausted from all the digestion that it needs to do, that it puts you to sleep, but you're not actually having proper sleep. Your body's not doing all of the repairing that it needs to do. It's doing digestive work. I wear a ring, and my ring tracks my sleep. And one of the things that it tracks is my heart rate drop. And on nights where I eat closer to bedtime, or I have a larger meal closer to bedtime, my heart rate drop is much later in the night, which is not good for recovery, and you don't get as deep of a sleep. But when I eat a lighter meal earlier and there's more hours between when I had that last meal and when I go to bed, my heart rate drop is earlier and I get a deeper, more restorative sleep. My sleep score is always higher. Number 4 is represented by my fruit and veggie cleaner here, and it is exposure to pesticides. So you could be eating a super healthy diet, but if you're not properly cleaning your produce, pesticides, that's serious business. Pesticides are designed to kill organisms. They're supposed to kill whatever pests might be on your fruits and vegetables. And if you're not washing properly, you're consuming poison. So I like to use this Renovera. I get this on Amazon, and it's so easy to do. You just take a large bowl, you pour some of this in here, and then you put your produce in there. The stuff that comes off of your produce, honey. There's a lot of different methods that you can use to clean your produce. This is the one that I found to be the most effective just because the gunk that I see come off of my produce. So that's another case where you're doing a fantastic job. You're eating all the right stuff. You're getting good sleep. You're exercising well. But if you're not properly cleaning your produce, you're exposing yourself to pesticides that are designed to kill things. Last but not least, represented by this good old bag of potatoes. If you're in the Slim program, you'll hear me talk about naked starches. Naked starches are when you're having starches, but you're not having any vegetables alongside it. You're not having legumes. It's not a balanced plate. Now, let me tell you what happens when you have naked starches and you don't have the vegetables along with it and the legumes along with it. The vegetables are so high in fiber that when you eat them alongside the starch, they create like this webbing that prevents the starch from entering the bloodstream so quickly that it gives you such a huge blood sugar spike that's followed by a crash. This blunts that insulin response. So when you have vegetables alongside the starch, you're blunting your blood sugar response, you're blunting your insulin. And it's known that when we have these big blood sugar spikes, that leads to inflammation. And not only that, but consistently spiking your blood sugar so high can potentially lead to insulin resistance, which is going to lead to weight gain. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. So the more insulin we have, the more fat we're going to store. So in order to make sure that we're not having these massive spikes and crashes in our blood sugar, we have to make sure that the meals that we're eating are balanced. So I've shown this plate before, making sure that when you have your starch, you're not just eating your starch alone, you're having it in conjunction with vegetables, with a source of protein like beans, peas, lentils. And then you can do a sprinkling of healthy fats like avocados, nuts, seeds, a modest sprinkling of them. But this is going to prevent the blood sugar spikes that lead to inflammation. If you like this video, you're going to love the next video. It's another video about specifically anti-inflammatory eating. So check out that video next. It's going to pop up on the screen. I love you, honeys, and I'll see you in my next video.